Welcome to the Binge List. I am your host, Paul Chappell, and I have the distinct pleasure of recapping Season 2 of The Boys, Episode 8. The final episode is called What I Know, and oh my God, there were so many thrills in this episode. I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. Instead of giving you Easter eggs about Billy Joel songs and, I don't know, product placements for the superheroes and all that crap, I'm going to just recount the top 3 wow moments because I don't want this show to go on too long. But I'm going to recount the top 3 wow moments in this episode, and then I'm going to go more in depth with the top 5 WTF moments too. There was because I had some problems with a few things in this episode, but it was still a good episode. Don't get me wrong. I loved everything about it, but yeah, I just wanted to do something different. I'm going to start by going through the plot really quick. As you know from the last episode, there was an attack on Congress. Many people got their heads exploded. And as a result of that, in this episode, we see that Compound V is being authorized by the President of the United States for law enforcement and military use. So Voight has gotten what they wanted. And it remains to be seen who did the head exploding. I personally thought it might be Edgar because this whole move by the government benefited all his goals of getting Compound V on the market. So that's who I was kind of suspicious of, but we'll get to what happened later. Also, as you know, in the last episode, Homelander and Stormfront took Ryan from Becca. In this episode, she tracks Butcher down after escaping from the compound that Voight has her in. And she tells Butcher he has to find her son. She will do anything, including come back to him, if he helps her find her son. So Butcher comes up with a plan, a little negotiation with Voight, and we'll get to that later. But that posed some questions to me that I want to pick out later when we get to the WTF moment of the episodes. Next, we have Annie and Huey. They have a plan to expose Voight, and they ask Butcher to give them a day because Butcher and the boys have their own plan. They just want to go kill a bunch of supes. They have all these improvised devices for killing supes. So I thought that was pretty cool. As you know, in my prior recaps, you know that I've always wondered aloud, how can they fight the supes when they're just ordinary people? Well, Frenchie had a number of weapons. He had EMPs, they had drugs, all these different things, and that were going to be used later in the episode, actually. So then we had Homelander and Stormfront trying their best to calm Ryan, who has already had regrets about leaving his mom. So they're taking him around town. And Homelander actually wants to raise them. I saw a side of Homelander that I didn't think he had. He actually showed some empathy for his son and was trying to teach him the right way to develop his powers. But eventually, we knew this was going to happen. Stormfront kind of starts pushing him toward that white supremacy route. So we could see where this was headed. Butcher tracks Ryan down, and they use some methods to get him out of this cabin that Homelander's keeping in him. But let me get to the top wow moments in this episode. Number 3 would be that Girls Get It Done. That scene where Kamiko, Starlight, and Maeve fight Stormfront. They stomp her ass. They stomp her like skinheads would stomp a minority, strangely enough. But that was just a great scene, great music playing in the background. I loved everything about it. I love the fact that the boys are sitting over on the sidelines. They're the heroes of a show called The Boys, and the girls are kicking ass. The episode probably could have ended right there, and I would have been satisfied. No, I'm joking. It got better from there on out. Number 2 wow moment in the episode, Ryan uses his powers finally and fries Stormfront like fried chicken. Oh my God. I even like the little detail they added where Stormfront reverted to her native language of German, and she's sitting there, speaking German as she dies. Or did she die? I don't know. I'll get to that later. The number 1 wow moment of this episode is Victoria Newman. Yes, that's right. Victoria Newman, the AOC doppelganger. She has been revealed to be the head popper. Yes, I was blown away by that revelation, and I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I got some ideas about what her plan is. But let me go down the list of the top 5 WTF moments in this episode. My first one, number 5, is Black Noir and Stormfront dead. I mean, we really don't know. We do hear Homelander say that Black Noir doesn't have brain damage, so he's still alive, but they never made it clear whether he was dead or alive. And same thing with Stormfront. She was alive the last time we saw her. It looked like she was dying, but she is a soup, so I don't know. I guess the writers are going to have to decide between seasons whether they're going to bring either of those characters back. I like how they left it open-ended like that because they can go either way and not be, not paint themselves into a corner. But Black Noir's fate had me thinking, and this is why it had me thinking. I did some research on Black Noir. And apparently in the comics, now I'm pretty sure they're not going to do this anymore, especially since the reveal last week where we saw part of Black Noir's face. He looks like a black guy, or he looks like he's burnt or something. But this is a spoiler. If you want to read the comic books at some point and don't want this spoil, go ahead, turn it off now. So you've been warned. But in the comics, Black Noir is a clone of Homelander. And his sole purpose for existence, Vought developed him as a failsafe for Homelander. He's stronger than Homelander. He's faster than Homelander. He can kill Homelander. And he eventually does this in the comics. And so, yeah, he's just a fail-safe for Homelander. I don't think he can fly or has the laser beams coming out of his eyes, but he has everything else. So that was his purpose in the comic books, and it doesn't look like they're going that route, especially if they go ahead and kill him. But from what I can see, Ryan is now going to take that spot, that purpose that Black Noir was going to have, because we see in that scene with Butcher and Edgar of Vault, they're talking about Ryan being a failsafe. The only thing that they can assure can take down Homelander is, somebody with the same powers. So that's why Voight wants to get him back. So it's very clear to me that Ryan is going to take over that same purpose that Black Noir had in the comics. So that brings me to number 3. What is Victoria Newman's master plan? Now, it's clear to me that her master plan is to amass power, because near the end of the episode, we see that an oversight committee has been created just to monitor superheroes. And who's the head of that committee? It's Victoria Newman. And we know that she was working with the head of the collective to release the information about Stormfront. So we know she engineered that. Somehow they got A-Train to go in there to steal it. Maybe they gave him a hint when the head of the collective, and I think his name was Alistair, he meets with Edgar and they're talking about Stormfront and A-Train. We know A-Train was listening in. but they meant for him to listen in and to steal that information, which later exposed Stormfront. And as a result, Voight's plan was not only dismantled, but Victoria Newman ended up with this very powerful position. I think ultimately, I've thought about this a lot since the episode ended. I think ultimately she's going to run for president at some point, and that's her master plan, is just to become president of the United States. We see that parallel in her doppelganger, AOC. There's a lot of people saying that AOC might be president one day. And in case you don't know who I'm talking about, AOC is the acronym for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's a New York congresswoman that a lot of people on the right really hate. Republicans just loathe her. And a lot of people think that she might actually run for president one day because she's very popular. She's a member of the squad. And she's also hated by Donald Trump and his cronies. So, yeah, I think that's definitely what Victoria Newman has planned for the future. Number 2 is, why do the boys continue to shoot Supes with bullets? I don't understand that. Every time they do that, it just draws a big question mark. We already know that Supes are bulletproof. So I just don't see what the deal. Every one of the Supes have been demonstrated to be bulletproof. So every time the boys grab a gun like they did at the end of the episode and they just unloaded on Stormfront, I'm just like, why the hell do they keep doing that? It makes no sense to me. Although it was kind of weird that Stormfront actually got stabbed in the eye. Wouldn't their eyes be bulletproof too? I don't know. That kind of threw me right there. But the biggest WTF moment in this episode was when Maeve came out of nowhere. I mean, seriously? They were fighting in the middle of a field in Rochester, New York, in the middle of nowhere. How the hell did Maeve get there? First of all, how did she track them down? I mean, I didn't see any bat plane or anything. Do they have vehicles? Because she doesn't fly. I just did not get that part. She just appeared out of nowhere. She just snuck up on Stormfront. It was really weird. So yeah, that's about it. It was a great episode. If you haven't already seen it, man, what are you waiting for? I mean, I can't wait for the next season. My only other complaints about this episode would be they didn't give Mother's Milk a lot to do. In fact, he didn't have a lot to do last episode either. I wish they had some kind of, plot thing, or both Huey and Frenchie have been given girlfriends, and obviously Mother's Milk can't have a girlfriend since he's married, but they need to give him somebody to interact with, like Kamiko. And I just feel like they could have done a lot better with his character. Also, we did get an answer for what Fresca has to do with this show. It has nothing to do with the show. It's just some inside joke that the writers came up with. I actually did some research on it. They needed something weird for the collective to be drinking, and somebody just says, why don't we just use Fresca? And as Edgar points out in the episode, it's awful stuff, just like I said my last recap. It's just terrible. It's a terrible drink from what I remember, because I don't drink soda anymore. But yeah, so yeah, that was a pretty good episode. I just, like I said, I can't wait for next season. But that's it. That's all I got. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments and we can discuss it a little bit. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell so you know when my next video drops. Give me a like, dislike, whatever, and I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.